So, Jaron Boots Ennis was offered a fight to Virgil Ortiz at 154. He declined it, saying that he wanted to stay at 147 and unify the division. Right. Teofimo Lopez calls out Jaron Boots Ennis. He refuses that fight. Brian Norman Jr. calls him out. He refuses to unify. Brian Norman Jr. goes over to Japan and knocks out Chin Sasaki. Knocks him out cold. Puts him to sleep. Jin Sasaki loses about 6 weeks of memory. Jaron Boots Ennis grabs his boots and runs up to 154, right? So now we're thinking, the fans are thinking, well, Virgil Ortiz was offered to Jaron Boots Ennis previously before by Turki Al-Sheikh. So maybe we're going to see this fight. But no, Turki Al-Sheikh comes out and makes a statement saying, Jaron Boots Ennis says he needs 2 tune-up fights before he can take on the big dogs at 154. Lee's fans puzzled and bemused as to why Boots Ennis is needing tune-up fights at 154 when we got guys like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez that are moving up in divisions and winning belts. Minus Ryan Garcia, he hasn't won a belt, so just excuse what I just said there. Okay, so Boots has disappointed the fans because he wants these 2 tune-up fights, and Turki Al-Sheikh has told him bluntly, I am not a charity. If you want 2 tune-up fights, you go and do that with Eddie. When you're ready to face the best of the division, you come back to us, Riyadh Season, and we'll put you on, and you can fight the likes of Bakram Matazaliev, Virgil Ortiz, these type of guys. We'll give you these type of guys. Israel Madrimov, Bohachuk, these type of guys, So, Jaron Boots Ennis has gone back to his team and promoter Eddie Hearn, and they've worked out a fight. Josh Kelly. Yes, Josh Kelly. Now, I'm from the UK, and Josh Kelly is from the UK. Josh Kelly was a bit of a hype. He had a bit of hype around him when he was just coming up. He was defeated badly by David Avanesian, right? David Avanesian was the guy who Terence Crawford fought on BLK Prime just before the Errol Spence fight. And Jaron Boots Ennis has also faced David Avanesian and defeated him, I believe, in about 6 rounds or something like that. So the fans are not happy with this fight because they're like, you're taking on a guy that has lost to a guy you've beaten pretty easily already. So we don't know. This is a tune-up fight, cherry pick, They're trying to state it's not a cherry pick because Josh Taylor is firmly placed within the top 10 of the 154 rankings. As I said, I'm from the US. I'm from the UK. And Josh Taylor hasn't come up on my radar. I know the name. I know the fighter. But, until he does something great out here, when I mean great, until he starts to put some proper work in and, take on some of these top contenders and get a few decent wins under his belt, he doesn't come up on my radar. All right. So I see this as sort of like I'm going to say it's like a cherry pick. It's a cherry pick. It's the easiest path to resistance because he's in the top 10. I believe Eddie Hearn promotes Josh Kelly. So it's an easy fight. Now, listen, this is one way that Boots can redeem himself. If Jaron Boots Ennis comes over to the Lion's Den, comes over to the UK and fights Josh Kelly, sorry, I'm about to say Josh Taylor, Josh Kelly, if he comes over to the UK and fights Josh Kelly, yeah, then I can give him a pass. Personally, I'd give him a pass because then he'll be fighting out of his comfort zone against a fighter who's firmly placed in the top 10. Not only that, England's a big, fighting nation, you would say, when it comes to boxing, combat sports. We love our combat sports over here, so he's probably going to come and meet a hostile crowd in favour of Josh Kelly, and that would maybe ease our concerns on Boots. But if the fight takes place in the US, probably Philadelphia, in front of a home crowd for Jaron Boots Ennis, I'm going to say this is a duck and a cherry. Not a duck, he's ducking the best in the division, but it's basically a cherry pick. An easy fight to try and move him along. At some point, Boots is going to have to face these guys. And the fans are frustrated with Boots. 28 years old, still hasn't met anybody that can challenge him. That's the problem. It's a bit like Gervonta Tank Davis, again, 30 years old, been around for a while, has never faced anybody that can challenge him. Up until he met Lamont Roach, and not all of us thought that Lamont Roach would give him the fight that he got. Obviously, he met his match in that fight, and he seems nervous about that fight, and now he's got himself in trouble. Some say to avoid that fight. But anyway, back to Boots. 28 years old, hasn't really achieved much. Won a few belts, won a belt or two, and you know, a full title in an interim maybe. But there's a lot more Boots can offer to the fans, and fans are expecting a lot more from Boots. So let me know what you think in the comments, because I've been critical about Boots quite a few times on Boots. I've made several videos on Boots. In fact, I made one 2 weeks ago. It didn't get much response, but if you want to go back to listen to that video, listen to it, and the message is the same. Boots keeps avoiding competition. He's looking for the easiest path of resistance. So, you know, so he can get himself up there. Like, you know, this is, some people might call it careful management. I will say he's padding his record. It's called padding the record. Anyway, enough said. Do us a favour, smash the like button, hit that bell for notifications to get all the new and the latest videos.